Good morning. We'll call this meeting of the Kent County Board of Commissioners for Thursday, November 20th to order. And I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioners Bujak,
Present.
Burl,
Here.
DeBoer, Faber, Halsted, Hennessy, Hildenbrand,
Here.
Coleman,
Here.
LeGrand, McLeod, Merchant, Morales, Morse, Oliver King, Pakala,
Here.
Constein, Sparks, Steck,
I'm really here.
Teal, Womack,
Here.
Chair Green.
Here.
You have 21. You have a quorum.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move to item 3, which is the invocation, and I will call on Commissioner Bujak.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome all the Board of Commissioners and county administrators and guests here to this morning's Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting. I'd like to start with some words of thanks. We have a lot to be thankful for here at Kent County. We have 21 commissioners that have the awesome responsibility of representing approximately 31,000 citizens in each of our districts, and it's a huge responsibility, and we take that very seriously. And we are very, very blessed here in Kent County to have a wonderful Board of Commission that works well together. In the United States, there are 3,144 counties, and of the 3,144 counties, Kent County is rated in the top 100. And not only is Kent County rated in the top 100, but in that group of 100, Kent County also has the recognition for having a AAA bond rating, which is very, very difficult to do. And Kent County has done that for decades. So that speaks to the great work that this Board of Commission currently is doing, and the Board of Commissioners that came before us, and the administration that has, assisted the Board of Commission in making good decisions in the past, and I encourage us all to continue doing that great business. Kent County is the fastest growing county in the state of Michigan, and so we have all kinds of exciting things going on here in Kent County that we need to be thankful for. And I'd like to begin with just a very simple prayer and say, Dear Lord, as we get together as commissioners this morning, give us the wisdom and give us the ability to make good decisions that benefit the citizens of Kent County, and help us to work collaboratively and continue doing the great business of Kent County so that we can go into the future. And in your name we pray, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Bujak. Move on to agenda item number 5, which is special orders of business. For our first special order of business this morning, I'd like to welcome our Kent County Drain Commissioner, Ken Yonker, who will provide us with the annual report from the Drain Commissioner. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, commissioners and staff. I ain't going to say I'm happy to be here to do this again because the law makes me do it, so I can't enjoy it, It's something that is what it is. I know Jeff Dodd always looks forward to my reports, especially when I read the whole thing, which I told him I plan on doing today, and so he's back there pretty excited. But I like you, if you would look at the report that you have all got a copy of, and go to page 27. We'll just kind of quick go through the summary, and then I'll go through some projects, and I'll leave the rest of the time for questions, so we can specific on certain areas that you may have questions on. Looking at the drain projects, we had 31 this year. These aren't just maintenance. where we get a call and there's a tree in the drain or there's a beaver dam. These are projects where people were being harmed by high water and we needed to do either repairs or some bigger cleanups. Project totals, we spent $15 million, a little over. That's a pretty big year. Drain orders, these are the inter-county drains that I do with our neighboring counties. We had 100 projects that we did this year for a total of $910,000. That was Kent County's part of those inter-county drains. Then we have our current assessment roll. We have 52 drains this year being assessed. Special assessment total is $1,182,488. It's a pretty big roll from where Kent County was when I started. So for a total with our at-large and our assessments, we did a $3,801,000 assessment roll this year. Next year, I'm kind of expecting about the same. A lot of these projects that we have going, we have about 6 more that'll be coming out through this year that will be worked on next year. And I'll get to that. So let's go to the slides. Let's see if I can make this thing work. There we go. So our major projects this year was Emmons Lake Drain. That is a major waterway that goes through the village and township of Caledonia. Rexford Lake Drain, that's an inter-county drain with Muskegon County and Ottawa County. And that's up by Peach Ridge and 14 Mile in that area. Knapp's Corner Drain, that's the pond from hell. And it just keeps giving. I'll give you some information on that shortly. Nash Creek Inter-County Drain, that is a very exciting project. That's currently moving forward, and we'll show you pictures of that. Saddlebag Drain has, that is finally completed, and we're moving forward. We cleared all our legal hurdles on that, and contractors will be getting started shortly on that. So Emmons Lake Drain, you can see the black line. Oh, went too far. The black line is the outline of the district of that drain. So everybody that lives within that black line has to pay an assessment for the maintenance work we had to do on that drain. So that project included adding the stream, and Emmons Lake Drain stopped at 84th Street. And then it goes under 84th. It's still a stream, but it was never maintained. It was not part of the county drain. The petition that I was given was to include that. So that now was included, and it carries all the way to the Thornapple. In that section, we had a major problem with flooding. And this is Cherry Valley. If you look at the top page with the water, where the water's flooding the road, that's a norm for that road. That's been that way since I was a kid. And when it gets flooded in the spring, it'll stay flooded like that for up to a week or longer. And the buses can't get through. The county closes that road, and then we have to reroute. So we have that fixed now. You can see on the second page there is looking north from that same area, that now where we raise the road and we put in big culverts in that and the driveways and under the road so we can manage the water more efficiently. That top culvert you see there is one of the driveways. This thing has mind of its own. And what would happen is there's so much water that culvert would fill up. In the spring of the year, that culvert is at capacity, and the water can't fit through because it's restricted. So what we have is, what we did is the picture below, we put in these big box culverts. They're one step below being a bridge. And that's what it took in order to meet the modeling that we did on how much water goes through there on a 25-year storm. And that's the same size culvert that's under the road now. This is another section of it that you can see the top picture where we have the big bank eroding. Well, that drain has been eating away at the base of that bank for quite a few years until we get what we have there. But the real scary piece was right on top of that bank, probably 15 foot to the west, is one of those big power towers that Consumers has. It's a cross-country electric line. The lower picture shows what we did to stabilize and two-stepped it, so their tower should be secure and we won't be dumping dirt down that drain, which is at this point, we're only probably a couple football fields away from the Thornapple River. So all that dirt just washes into that river, and that won't happen anymore. Rexford Lake, this is a inter-county drain, like I said, with Muskegon, Ottawa County. This is a pretty big district. You see the black line. This is right up there. We have Peach Ridge, and where the drain goes underneath Peach Ridge. I'll show you a picture. The water that you see on the left-hand side picture, that, and then you see a little tube right there. Well, that's the culvert underneath Peach Ridge, all right? That is the one that was put in after there was an accident a few years ago in the winter when the drain was flooding and the road was underwater and it froze. A young kid was going to school, lost control, hit a tree and got killed. We were sued and we lost. That doesn't happen. But we did. The road commission did, and that's been a problem. So I got together with our other county partners on this drain, and we decided to take a swing at getting this fixed and getting this drain to flow. It's a lot of wetland. You can see the picture with the excavator. That contractor has his machine sitting on wooden mats too deep to keep it from sinking into the mud. But he went through there and he got that drain opened up. And then you look at the bottom page, you can see the boots on top of that culvert. That's the top culvert that we see in the other picture. The other two culverts are the ones that were underneath that culvert that drain that stream. It hasn't worked in probably 30 years. And I was told when I came in, because I was shown that problem by property owners, and I was told that that can't be fixed. It's just too wet in there, we can't get it opened up to flow. Well, we did, it is. So now the road commission has 2 years because that system is an obstruction. And they have 2 years to dig that up and put a bridge there. So we don't get obstacles plugging that pipe for drainage. This is a high maintenance drain. My fellow counties have agreed that every 3 years we're going to be in here opening that drain up to make sure it continues to flow. It's very flat. And when that muck moves in, it doesn't take much to stop the flow. Then you aggravate the problem. So it'll be a constant every 2 year dipping through about a mile of that drain to keep that thing flowing. So that was a real success story for us and the road commission, because now they don't have a road that's flooding. They're pretty happy with it too. Here's our wonderful Knapp's Corner. The black line again is the district. And you can see the pond, the blue. Here's another picture of it. This is after we've pumped it. The only way I can get it pumped to that level or lower is...
You can keep going, Commissioner.
All right.
I know you try to keep her moving. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
So that pond has a force, that shed there has electric pump in it. And there's a force main there that was put in a few years ago before me, and that pumps it to another water district to the south behind the courtyard, behind the courthouse. That's an illegal pump. I can do it on a declaration of emergency only, and I better be able to prove it's an emergency, because those people in that development have been dumped on before me quite a bit. And the problem that we had with this is it would no longer percolate, so the water would flow over the spillway, and then it flooded homes. So and the water that did percolate before it sealed up had contaminated all the wells. So all the wells, people were drinking salt water. It's not rated as a toxic, but it is acidic. And high volumes of salt isn't good for your pumps, your water heaters, and it goes on and on. It's not a healthy situation. So when that took place, we have 12 wells through that community, and we're monitoring. We know that salt water is high, and we know it's coming from that pond. So they are hooked up to city water. All the businesses got together and paid to run city water to all them homes. So my job then is to figure out a way to get that water out of that pond. And that's been going on for 10 years, 11 years now. And we finally got to the point to bid it. We had bid opening on Monday. One bid. Out of 10 contractors that showed up at the pre-bid, nobody bid it. So we still don't have a project done. The one bid we did was $6 million high, and the contractor wasn't qualified. So I rejected that bid, and we're here right where we were before. This pond just keeps giving. So moving forward, we're working close with the city on this and Grand Rapids Township, and I meet with the road commission on tomorrow, because we run into other complications by closing that road, because Broadmoor, East Beltline is going to be closed starting next year when they rebuild the bridge over the highway. And the main route then would mostly be Grand River Drive, which we would also have to close. So this thing just gets more complicated, and we're working through it, step at a time. But that's Knapp's Corner, a wonderful thing that is. Nash Creek, this is up in Sparta. This was a petition project because we've had a lot of ash trees that have fallen and blocked this drain. And there was so much erosion that's taken place that the drain went from a 2-foot wide drain to what it is now at 30-foot wide. I had to get all new easements because the easements were washed away. And there's one pond in that system that a private party dug years ago. Thought they would develop it, but the ground didn't lend itself to building. But this pond was 17 foot deep. And right now, well, before we started dredging it, it was 4 inches deep. That much dirt has washed into it. But because it caught the soils, the sediments, the Rogue River was saved from having it all dumped into the Rogue River. So that was a good thing. The district bought that land with that pond, so it's now part of the county drain system. We don't need permitting through Eagle to maintain that pond. It's just been a really great fit, and so there, right now as we speak, there's a machine that sucks the dirt up and then pumps it up into a holding pond, and that's being done as we speak. So we'll be taking about 8,000 yards, 10,000 yards of sediment out of that pond, so we can continue to use it as a sediment basin. That's the main reason I wanted it. Upstream, we have some projects going where there was an old wetland that was overrun with invasive grasses. And that, this is just a picture of current conditions of where you see logs over it, and that's quite common. But upstream, we have some areas where we're able to get 6 acres of that wetland. The farmer gave us 2.5 acres of his field. So we're creating a 8.5 acre wetland. The old wetland, we were given permits to dredge all that invasive grass out. We're resculpturing it, and we'll be putting trees in there, and wetland type plugs will be planted in this pond to recreate a wetland, a healthy wetland, and be able to hold water back from flooding the village down below. It'll be released at a slower rate. That was a partnership we worked through with Eagle. It was a great partnership, and they don't do that often. So they really stretched their comfort zone working with us on this, and I'm very appreciative for that. Upstream of that, two-stage ditching. That's where you got your base flow, you dig it 15 foot wider on both sides, so when that water comes up, it widens out, slows everything way down. That's before the pond. And again, all permitted through Eagle. They were very accommodating. Farmers are very accommodating. This is a project that's going to get headline news. We're very excited, Eagle's excited, and we're droning it as we go along, so we'll see some good reports and publications on this when we're done. Saddlebag Drain, like I said, that one is moving forward. That's the outline of the district. It starts at Meyer Gardens, and it goes all the way down through the city of Kentwood. There's a picture of part of the stream that's just south of Fulton Street. It's probably the most challenging part. We got to dredge because we got some very nice properties on both sides, and it's going to take some special equipment to be able to reach to get that dug out. Tyler Creek, this is another exciting project. We just started with this. We got a $65,000 grant from DNR, and that's to do a study. So if you see the blue line at the top as it comes down, back in 1928, a third of Tyler Creek was redug to straighten it so the water can move faster. That was always the goal, is to move that water faster. But what we got today is we have erosion on banks that are 15 to 20 foot high, constantly eroding into the Coldwater River, and I can't stop it. We've done so much to try to stop that erosion. It just keeps going. There's so much water that hits, and it's falling so fast. So we thought, man, it sure would be nice if we could recreate the old bed stream, and that's the red lines. You can kind of see a line, a grayish line where like a big snake flowing through. That's the original. You would stretch this thing out a third longer than what it is now, and you would slow it way down. You would have a lot more fish life in there, plus other ecosystems that would develop around it. So that study is being done. The property owners gave me the easement rights for these people to go on their property, and they're excited about that opportunity too. So this is going to be an ongoing project for quite a while, but we're all excited about it. Again, working with Eagle, DNR, Trouts Unlimited, all these people that really understand these ecosystems are really partnered up with us. So we're hoping that as we get ready, get finished with the study, we can get some more grant money instead of doing hitting the district with it. But another one that'll be published, because this doesn't happen very often, and we just have the right situation to do something really good. So we're excited about this one too. Upcoming projects for next year, Behan Foley, that goes through Wyoming, starts in Byron Center and Granville. Engineering is just wrapping up on that. We expect to bid that this December. Approximate $3 to $4 million project, just like all the other ones. Lamberton Creek, that goes right through the city. We got some legal hurdles we're working through on that one. We expect to put that up for bid probably next spring, next summer. Ada Cascade Dams. This is new, and you will be part of this one because it's a lake level. The backwaters of Ada Dam and Cascade Dam are lake levels. And it's a real confusing thing because we got two court orders that set these. One says we shall do certain things, and the other one says you may do certain things. But the order that says I shall conflicts with Eagle and their rules. And then on top of that, we throw the federal government on top because they're both electric producers, and that's FERC. So we have a liability on these dams. If they are to fail, we get sued. Because under state law, we are liable for these dams. FERC says to me, you stay off our dam, we're responsible, we'll take care of everything, and I don't know a thing. So all this is coming to a head now. We will be in court with this, and I'll give you further notice as we move forward. We met with the property owners, the associations in Cascade Township yesterday with their attorneys, and we got a good plan mapped out on how we'll start proceeding. And the first hurdle, we got to get some kind of an operating agreement with FERC and allow us to have that inspection on those dams. Because the thing we run into with these is FERC, the federal government, they inspect for the electric maintenance side of that dam. They don't inspect for safety, what conditions that dam in. That's what we're responsible for. But I have not been able to get on that dam for 9 years because they kicked me off and said I couldn't go on there. And that was after the LaBarge Dam just about blew. And that, if you remember that day when that was going on. So we're going to start working through this now. It's going to take a little time. We will be back in court with it. You will be involved. You will have decisions to make, and I'll bring those to you when we get that ready. Linda's been involved with this as well, and we got a good team working on it, and we'll get through it. 2006, construction, we'll see Saddlebake Drain going, Kilgus Drain. That's another good story yesterday. The railroad came through and accepted my counteroffer. We will be moving forward with that pipe under the railroad. If you remember, that pipe was failing. We had a sinkhole next to the rail. When we found the problem, we inspected the pipe below. The pipe had holes in it and was fractured. So it was just a matter of time before it collapsed, which then would have brought the rail down. We did a temporary hold on that pipe, and we've been working with the railroad we got the engineering done, and they didn't want to pay the $1 million it was going to take to fix that pipe under that rail. So we did work through that. They are going to fix it. We're going to be partners. They're going to do their part, and then we're going to take over and finish our part. So that's going quite well, and they're paying for their part. So that's another good thing. Nash Creek will be going. Sierra Estates, that's another one that's just getting started. Very controversial, so if you're in the area of the county that you'll hear from those people, they are not happy. This was given to me from the township. They couldn't solve a problem with the neighbors, so they gave it to me to fix it. I have no choice but to do what we got to do, and nobody's happy on that one. Hidden Hills Drain is going. That's through Cascade. Again, a lot of erosion, dumping in Thornapple. We're getting that stabilized. Knapp's Corner, hopefully, by the end of 26, we'll be able to get started. Detention basins, half of the county we've been working on, mostly Byron Center at this time. We'll be doing the northern part of the county next year. And then our asset management plan. You should have got a copy of that. That is something I've wanted to do since I started because I had no idea what's been done in this county and what hasn't been done. So we have our first one done for the city of Walker. We'll be presenting that to their board next month. I'll be doing that with every city, township, village that's in this county will have a plan. They will know what drains they have in their county and their area of governing. They'll know what was done and what's coming up, and then we will also be able to bid a year ahead as to what projects are scheduled for that next year. And the budgets then can be aligned to the work that'll have to be done as an asset management instead of a project fix and make things a lot cheaper. So those are good things as we move forward, and that's probably about enough. If there's any questions. Unless you want to hear more, I mean, we can go through it.
Oh, no, I think we're good.
All kinds of stuff going.
I think we're good. Thank you, Commissioner Yonker. I am going to have a time limit on our kind of questions for the Drain Commissioner. We have some members of the public here this morning that would like to speak, and so I want to do questions and answers for about 10 minutes, and then we'll get on to the next item. Okay, so I don't know who was first. We'll go in order here. Commissioner Bujak.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of the citizens of Caledonia and District 21, thank you very much for the Emmons Lake improvements. I've lived there for 40 years and have witnessed and been, part of that flooding for a long time. And it's nice to see the partnership with the Drain Commission and the King County Road Commission in making that improvement there. It's just amazing. It's very good. And also, District 21 looks like a busy place. The Tyler Creek project, I've been watching you guys clean those banks up, and appreciate the work there. And just now finding about the dam in my district. You guys are busy in my district. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Womack.
For the sake of time, just want to thank you for the overview and update. I seen you've been very busy, but you're doing such a great job. Just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Green. Thanks for being here today, Ken. So my question's more is, when does your job as a drain commissioner stop and go when it comes, I mean, obviously, the drains have got to flow, and they flow into a creek or a river. Where is your jurisdiction begin and end between the drain and then an actual creek or a river? Or is it all?
There's some drains where we'll have 2 miles of drain, then we'll have a mile that it's not a drain, same waterway, and then it'll pick up again. So the county drain is established by somebody petitioning, wanting the county drain system to include it. Then we go through the public hearing just like we would a project. And if it's determined that, yes, it should be done that way after that hearing, then it's ordered to include it, and then we get it on our records. Again, at that point, if after that public hearing, they have a 10-day appeal time to take it to circuit court and appeal the decision of the board. After that time, it's law, and it can't be reversed.
Thank you for the clarification.
Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. About the Knapp's Corner drain, my memory is that some of the first ARPA money that got spent was a couple $1 million to finally fix that drain.
Yeah.
So evidently that didn't work. What
Well,
was done was
it
that where the
did.
pump went in?
Yeah, that ARPA money was used, that covered all the soft costs for this project, and that's a lot. So to this point, we have not incurred any debt for that project. Now, at this point, we're going into the bond, that we'll have to bond for this, and that falls under the city to pay back, 100%. So we did our share, the township gave its share. They chose in their petition to not assess the drainage district for this work. That was their choice, and I honored that. And now they can't reverse it, even though they probably wish they didn't do this. Because from when we started to where we are, costs on doing these projects went up considerably, like everything else.
Okay, and then you say that it's, does that water that we pump out then have to be desalinated if it's,
No.
no? There's salt in it, but,
Well, there is about 3 months out of the year.
okay, only during the winter when there's.
We do constant water testing on this thing since I started.
Okay.
All right, so we know when our high points are, we know when we're low. But we've also started to do a holistic water testing at the river, because we're gonna start flowing the water into this. I wanna know where we're at now. So we did a larger spectrum of testing with the metals and stuff. And our water that's coming from that pond is actually cleaner than what's currently in the river. So what's gonna be interesting over the next 5 years, I'm gonna continue this testing, because I wanna know with the plantings that we're gonna do in this pond, and it's kinda like we're doing on Nash Creek, we're creating another ecosystem. And I have 3 other ponds in Kent County, I'm doing this in other districts as well, because I think we can clean our stormwater through these natural systems. But we're gonna do water testing on this for the next 5 years to see if I'm right in my thoughts.
Great, thank you.
If we are, then we can go for legislation and make some good changes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair. I think I had 3 minutes based on my clock. So quickly, Knapp's Corners, again, been a thorn in our sides for as long as I've been around.
Stan.
So I'm not quite sure what is the problem? You have 10 bidders coming in, looking at the project. Nobody's bidding responsibly, apparently. They just don't want to touch that project. I don't blame them, but
Well, Yeah, it's a couple things. Our biggest problem with the contractors that were big enough to do this project, and we even went to the east side of the state, and the bigger contractors said, look, we got so much work, we're not gonna travel that far to do a project. And so our number one problem is road funding. All these road projects, these bigger contractors would rather do those, especially on federal funds, because they make more money and they pay their help better. We're not under that Bacon-Davis Act on our work. So the work is complex, it's very challenging, and we don't have many contractors that could actually handle the conditions that they'd have to work in on this.
So if you just put it out for bid again, we're gonna have the same problem, aren't we?
Well, we were told, well, not right now, we can't do it now, we're gonna wait, we're looking at possibly January, and then have bid opening into February. And we're told by some of the larger contracts, by then they'll be ready to start bidding for their next election cycle. Or not election, but our next construction cycle. And the word on the economic reports that I've seen and that's being talked about is we're heading into a recession. So that means these guys might be bidding a little better.
So we're rooting
Get
for a
better
recession.
prices.
Well, thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, it can benefit us on this one. We need to bring that price down.
Thank you. Anybody else? Commissioner Faber.
Could you just give us a 20-second update on Dean Lake? I didn't see it as part
Yeah.
of the project. And then just a comment, thank you for the work in updating the website, making that more clear where these projects are in the timeline. And I just want to continue advocating for transparency and openness. As you know, when you go on the website, there's obviously dozens and dozens of projects, and it's still difficult for, I think, residents to know where in the process they are. And so just encourage in 2026 that we continue to consider the user as we, update the information on the website. But thank you for the work thus far. So,
Yeah.
Commissioner Yonker, Commissioner Faber asked about ongoing litigation, and we generally don't discuss ongoing litigation in a public session.
Correct.
I'll just say that it is in the process and it's moving forward according to the court schedule.
The project itself, we have all the pipe in the ground. The roads, all the restoration's been completed. The only thing left is the wet well and the pump, and that pump is ordered, and it won't be till next summer before we'll see it.
Anybody else? All right, I gave you guys 10, and we did it in 8 minutes. So thank you, Drain Commissioner Yonker. We appreciate your work. We will move on to agenda item 5B. Before I open the public hearing, I'd just like to clarify, this is the public hearing for the Village of Sparta annexation petition. For those of you who are here for this issue, this would be the opportunity to give public comment on that particular agenda item. We will discuss that agenda item as the board when we get down to it underneath our resolutions. But now is your opportunity for public comment on this issue. I won't be welcoming further public comment under our public comment item. So now is the opportunity to do that. I will declare the Village of Sparta annexation petition public hearing now open. If there are any members of the public who wish to make comment on this issue, now is your opportunity. We have up to 3 minutes, and if you could please give your name and address for the record. I know you want to speak, so. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Laura Genovich of Foster Swift. We are the attorneys for Sparta Township. Sparta Township opposes the annexation petition, but supports development of the Peterson property. The question before you is not whether this property should be developed. The question is whether that development requires permanently stripping the township of jurisdiction and future tax revenue, or whether the township and village should cooperate through an Act 425 agreement, which is Sparta Township's preference. Annexation is permanent. It's a winner-takes-all approach that transfers the land forever to the jurisdiction of the village. And if the village becomes a city, which is its intention, then the township loses all taxing authority over that property. Act 425, on the other hand, does the opposite. It's flexible, it's cooperative, and it's temporary. And it protects fiscal stability and ensures that both communities benefit from the development that is to come on the property. Michigan law provides for Act 425 agreements as a preferred alternative to annexation. This County Board of Commissioners has full discretion to deny this petition and urge the parties to cooperate. Denying the annexation petition today does not block development, and it does not limit private property rights. The property owner still has the same ability to develop under an Act 425 agreement and have access to the village utilities through that agreement. The difference between annexation and the 425 is that under Act 425, both communities benefit instead of just one. And the township has already offered this solution to the village. Sparta Township has passed a resolution and proposed an Act 425 agreement on terms that were previously acceptable to the village for other properties that would provide for village utilities to allow the desired development, share the revenue equitably, and preserve the township boundaries. And yet we are here on the village's petition because the village refuses to negotiate unless it captures 100% of the tax revenue post-cityhood. In other words, annexation is not being used to allow development, it's being used for leverage. Michigan law does not require this annexation petition to be approved to get utilities to the property. That too can be done under Act 425. At the Operations Committee meeting, Commissioner Ponstein correctly stated that this is a matter for the township and the village to work out. And Commissioner Burrell, although I know your vote was ultimately to recommend it up, I think you made a good point in saying that an Act 425 agreement is generally the right thing to do for good neighbors. That is what Sparta Township has tried to be. We request that this Board of Commissioners allow the parties to return to the negotiating table with a viable path forward under an Act 425 agreement already offered by the township to the village. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else for public comment? Good morning. Please give us your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lauren Peterson, 12250 Sparta Avenue. My sister, brother, and I are owners of the property now that my dad has passed away a year ago. And this has been a movement to move this property to the village. And being now that my dad was able to make it zoned as a light industrial. So this is a process that's been going on for several years for my father to grow the town of Sparta. And we're looking to just continue on to what his wishes were to move that property into the village. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Bergman.
Oh, thanks a lot, Ben. Nice to be here this morning. Nice to see the full board and everything. Thanks for your service to Kent County.
I'm sorry, Dale, I know who you are, but can you give your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Dale Bergman. I live at 9280 Sparta Avenue, Sparta, Michigan, 49345.
Thank you.
Our township board has been very cooperative in passing the proposed 425 agreement. Just one mill of tax, no extenuating 425 requirements for adjoining properties. The village is in charge of the zoning, so they can do what they want with the property. Past, I've been around a while, so I'm kind of the dinosaur, I guess, of Sparta Township. But anyways, in the past 425 agreements, we have worked very well with the village. Bedford Falls was one, Rodeo Grounds, and Spectrum Health. And the common practice of past village councils working with the township on larger properties has been done by 425. There may be some relationship to the way the village is thinking, maybe, with the property as the Momber property, which was on 12 Mile Road, just across the street from Spectrum Health. Because the board really has drawn a line as our prime farmland west of M37, and I don't know if you're familiar but it's very high topography. Soils are comprised of clay loam soils, and it's just an ideal place to grow apples. And really, Michigan is not only nation renowned, but actually worldwide. It's really a beautiful place, and it should be preserved. And the board's feeling there is because of the leapfrog effect, which is very real once you have sewer extended to this area, we've been very protective to that. And, excuse me, also that we have a signed agreement that no more property would be expand in that area without a 425. Collaboration, that's something you always hear. I have a problem saying the word of that. But anyways, collaboration is something we all want to work together. I've heard it so many times with all the projects.
Thank you.
And working together much better is a much better way for all concerned.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Chairman Green and Commissioners. Jim Lauer on behalf of the Village of Sparta in my professional capacity as their manager. So I do want to react to a couple of things that were already said in public comment. Commissioners were provided in the packet a wealth of information on behalf of the village, our master plan, minutes from a previous meeting in 2023 when this was discussed with the township, and then some memos outlining and highlighting the differences between the 425 that was brought up in the annexation and why we feel very strongly that that's not necessary in this case. I do want to touch on a couple of things that were brought up. The premise that what we're asking here is in some way unusual and that the 425 is the norm. That's not the case, particularly with the village. I mean, if you look at examples like Old Orchard, Cascade Die Casting, and several other properties that were actually already developed and had high taxable value on them, they were brought into the village through a direct annexation process. And indeed, the township would actually stand to lose considerably more than with the Peterson property if cityhood does become a reality. So that I reject that premise completely, that the 425 is the norm and what we're doing here is not the norm. In fact, all of the properties except for 3 that have come into the village since its inception in 1883 have been through this process. There's only 3 exceptions, and those are the exceptions for very good reason. Number one, 2 of them are on the other side of M37, and as the township stated, they generally view that as their dividing line between the village and the township, so those particular properties required a special circumstance and a special agreement. The third one is what's called Bedford Falls, and at the time, there were several property owners and homeowners that didn't want to be in the village and wanted to remain on an island in the township and have a separation between the two. And when you're doing an annexation, generally it has to be congruent and it can't create these different islands and those kinds of things. So in that particular case, we did a 425 agreement instead of a direct annexation. This request has none of those issues. It butts up neatly with the village. It's in our master plan. The township, in fact, already has it zoned as industrial. So while it is being farmed, it's not as if farmland is being changed over to some other purpose. And as a practical matter, you know, it really can't be developed for an industrial purpose or a housing purpose without the municipal water, sewer, storm sewer, and our modernized zoning. We did work with Kent County last year and with the greater Kent County area on putting in our best practices for our zoning and reforming that and trying to get more housing into our community, which I know the board has identified as a need. So I'm just going to quickly touch on who this benefits. It's literally everybody. It's every organization, including the township. Kent County gets a win because we get closer to your guys' goals of providing more affordable and accessible housing. It protects the environment and protects farmland by allowing the density of housing that you can get in a village or a city setting instead of requiring large, 1 acre or larger lots out in the township that require water and septic. The rest of the points are in the memo. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment on the annexation petition? Good morning.
Good morning. Rob Steffens, 4344 13 Mile Road, Sparta. I'm a proud 4th generation apple grower and township trustee. I'm going to take my glasses off here. When I was here Tuesday, I heard property rights 425 agreements that were win-wins in Byron Township, and that's really what I feel needs to happen here. We have some amenities that the township takes care of. Our library, which in their promotion of their cityhood has chosen not to fund. Maybe that might change after they become a city, but that is not their intention as their selling point to become a city. Our library, our sports park. Our sports park is a new amenity that we've had here probably the last 5 years, 6 years. And we're going to need upkeep for that. And this property that we're talking about is probably going to be most likely zoned into residential development. And the people are going to use those amenities. And the township owns the sports park. We get help from the village on doing the books, where the township puts $25,000 a year into that to help it keep it going. And we operate it very efficiently, I must say. I am chairman of it, and I do have to put a quick point out that we're working with the Drain Commission there, and it's been a win-win situation there for this as well. So for those reasons, I would like to see this, and I think we can work with them. I've spoken to the family. We're not trying to stop the development, and that's one thing to the property rights. We're trying to encourage. We know that's where we want growth to occur. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Others for public comment? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Marcy Savage. My address is 1025 North Sunset Pines, Sparta, and I'm the clerk of Sparta Township. As you all know, the Peterson family has approached the village requesting an annexation so their family's land can be developed. We as the Township Board do not oppose this development here on this piece of property, as we have master planned it light industrial. But a resident is not going to know to ask for a 425 agreement. Most people don't know what these are or that they even exist. 425 agreements are very familiar with the leaders of Sparta Township and the village because we have worked on several together. We have sent the village board an agreement for this property using the language that they've used for a previous 425 agreement. Currently, the village is actively pursuing cityhood. They're just waiting on the state to put it on the ballot for a vote. The township runs on just one mill. We pay the majority of the fire department, the library, the sports park, assessing services, elections, 4 cemeteries, all with our 1 mill. The village, on the other hand, collects 12 mills to operate. The 425 agreement only gives the township the 1 mill if the village becomes a city. It does not limit development. It does not take away any rights of the owner. It only allows the village and the owner to do exactly what they're asking to do. The township has many services to provide its citizens, and we run on a very limited budget. But if you pass this today without recommending the village to proceed with the 425 agreement, it will set a precedent, and the village will do all its future annexations without playing nice with the township. I do think it's not unreasonable to ask you to help us protect our 1 mill for the township's financial security for the future. After all, isn't that why we're all here and what we've all been elected to do? We need to do what's best for our residents for now and in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Others? Good morning. Please give us your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Martin Peterson. I live at 12951 Ball Creek, Kent City. I'm the trustee for my parents' estate. We're moving forward with this because we were looking, my brother said Dad had it zoned light industrial because he was looking to improve the property. We approached the village, so the whole leverage thing, the village, I kind of wondering about. And I wasn't approached till today in this room about 425. But Mr. Steffens saying that, oh, now we want to do a 1 mill. Well, I wish they had talked about this months ago, but here we are. So I am asking for the annexation so that we can do the higher development there, incorporate it into the village. I think it's a benefit. That's about all I got to say, I think.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm a little shorter than that. My name is Barb Johnson. My address is 9210 Alpine Avenue in Sparta. I am a Sparta Township trustee. The township's 100% in favor of developing and future growth for the property in question. We want to ensure that this growth and development is done to benefit all of our residents of the township, including those residents of the village, which are part of the township. Initially, I believe that when the Peterson family approached the village should have told them about the 425 option. I don't believe that they were, by the sounds of what Mr. Peterson just said. This is something that we have always been willing to do as far as discussing and coming to negotiating with the village. It's always been an option, and I'm just afraid, again, that if these options are taken away, annexation can become the norm instead of the exception. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Anyone else for public comment this morning on the annexation petition? Okay, last call. All right, I see none. We will return to this, I'm sorry, I do need a motion. I'll say first. We will return to this item further down in the agenda, so there'll be more coming. And then a motion is necessary to exit the public hearing.
Thank you, Chair Green. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Thank you. It's moved by Vice Chair Burrell and supported by Commissioner Teal. Council, do I need a roll call vote? No. Voice vote? Okay. Assuming no discussion on this, there's a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to agenda item number 6, which is public comment related only to the agenda action items. If there's anyone this morning who has public comment related only to agenda action items, and again, I'd ask that we refrain from the discussion on the annexation requests, as we just did that. Anybody else that has an agenda action item public comment this morning? I see none. With that, we will move on to agenda item number 7, which is the consent agenda. I will call on Commissioner Bujak. Can you flip your microphone on, Commissioner, and say that again?
I move to support the consent agenda.
There's a motion. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Sparks. Teal. I couldn't tell who was speaking. Questions, comments, or discussion on the consent agenda? I see none. This is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Commissioner Bujak.
Yes.
Vice Chair Burrell. Commissioners DeBoer. Faber. Halsted. Hennessy. Hildenbrand. Coleman.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Merchant. Morales. Morse. Oliver King. Pakla.
Yes.
Ponstein. Sparks. Steck. Teal. Womack.
Yes.
Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move to agenda item number 8, which is resolutions. And for 8A, I will call on Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Green. I move approval of the amendment to the 2025 apportionment report, which was approved less than a month ago, but needs to be amended. So I move for its approval.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Teal. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? Yes, Commissioner Pakla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a process question here. I note that we only have 2 amendments that are here, but I know there were other millages that were on the ballot in November. So just trying to understand what's the threshold for entering into this amendment here, given that some of the other millages were changed on that ballot?
We do have someone from equalization here, so I will ask them to answer that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Julie from Equalization. The other proposals are not going to be collected in 2025. These were changes for 2025.
Any other questions, comments, discussion on this item? I see none. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. With that, this is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 94, Commissioner Bujak.
Yes.
Vice Chair Burrell.
Yes.
Commissioners DeBoer. Faber. Halsted. Hennessy. Hildenbrand. Coleman.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Merchant. Morales. Morse. Oliver King. Pakla. Ponstein. Sparks. Steck.
Yes.
Teal. Womack.
Yes.
Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 94 is adopted.
Thank you. We will move to agenda item 8B, and I will call on Commissioner Womack.
Thank you, Chair Green. I'd like to move Resolution 95 of today's date, 11/2025, the Village of Sparta petition for annexation.
Thank you. Is there support? Supported by Minority Vice Chair McLeod. I am going to, given the extra background on this, ask Al to review the action request with us, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions, comments, or discussion from the board.
All right, action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to hold the required public hearing concerning the Village of Sparta's petition for annexation of a property located in Sparta Township and subject to consideration of comments received at the public hearing on November 20, 2025, approve or deny the petition. Summary. Pursuant to state law, the Village of Sparta submitted a petition to the county to annex parcel 410514-100-013, commonly referred to as 11250 Sparta Avenue Northwest. In accordance with state law, the County Board of Commissioners is required to receive the village's petition, hold a public hearing to consider the annexation, determine if the petition should be granted or denied, and if it is granted or denied, enter an order to that effect. If the Board of Commissioners approves the annexation, the law further requires the county to file an order with the Michigan Secretary of State Office, the village clerk, and the township clerk. Standing Rule 5.1B3 requires the Operations and Policy Committee to study annexation petitions and make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. The Operations Committee has studied the material before it on the petition, and based on that material recommends the petition be considered by the Board of Commissioners. The Operations Committee acknowledges the recommendation is subject to comments received by the Board at the public hearing, which when considered by the Board may result in the Board reaching a different conclusion on whether to approve the petition. Corporation Counsel has reviewed the petition and supporting documentation. Can I make just a couple?
Yeah, please.
I just wanted to make a couple additional comments. I mentioned at committee that when this first came up, after I returned to Kent County over 4 years ago, I said, yeah, don't worry, these never come up. And we've had, I think this is number 5. And this is the first contested one that we've had. But I think the point that I wanted to underline is that village township annexation is uniquely positioned for the County Board of Commissioners to decide in the state of Michigan. And I also wanted to mention that there is no, we'd all be more comfortable, right, if there was a checklist, if there were 5 things and you could say, well, it meets 3 but not 2, or it meets all 5 or none of the 5. But really, it's a vote up or down by the Board of Commissioners, and you're not giving guardrails or criteria to make the decision. So I just wanted to mention that so that everybody here and in the room understands kind of how that process works.
Thank you. All right, we will open it up for questions, comments, and discussion from commissioners. I would ask that commissioners do not ask questions of the 2 parties that are here, and instead ask questions of our staff, corporate counsel. We'll do our very best to answer those and through the discussion. Okay, so Commissioner Bujac, you're first.
Thank you, Chair. I live in Caledonia Township, where we have a similar relationship with the Village of Caledonia and the Caledonia Township Board of Trustees. I sat on the Caledonia Township Board of Trustees for 8 years, and also on the Planning Commission there for 8 years. The unique thing about these relationships where you have a village within the township is that the citizens in the village have a dual county or a dual relationship where they are also township residents and village residents. They pay township taxes, and they are residents of the township. I'm a little bit troubled by what I'm hearing today in that we now have a division between, it seems like we have a division between the village representatives and the township representatives, which I don't think is very good. And I personally would like to see this back to the negotiating table and let them work it out before we make a decision, because the decision that we make here is final. So just my perspective on the village and township relationship, I'm concerned that going forward, if this annexation occurs, there's going to be some long-term relationship problems there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Green. So, I mean, I appreciate your comments, Commissioner Bujak, but after reading the 130-plus pages of stuff, testimony and all of that, there was a lot of cost to taxpayers because 2 units of government can't seem to come to an agreement. You know, we hear the trigger points that this is about protecting farmland, this is about private property rights. We try to keep pitting those two against each other, but it has nothing to do with that. I think that Township said it very well today in their printed documents. They have no problem with that becoming a housing development or light industrial or any other causes. They've got it in their master plan. But coming in today, watching the public comment, and the reaction and facial, you know, there's a divide. You could cut right down that line. Got the village on one side and township on the other side. I mean, that's not good. And now we're supposed to decide what is good. Whatever we do is going to be a negative for us because the one side is now going to be, do we work with the county anymore after what they did to us, or vice versa? I mean, that's wrong. And I thought about this last night. I was up and called a few people, is that I don't think it has anything to do with property rights, development, what we can do and what we can't. This is all about money. And once again, it's taxes. And if the village of Sparta wants to become a city, that's great, if that's what their residents want. But, you know, I was a city council member. At every level of government you go up, it's going to cost money. And how you're going to pay for those city services are paid through taxes. And that's the sticking point of this issue, is because you look at Sparta Township's request of maintaining that 1 mil, and then we hear in previous public comments, well, that's only $70. You know, that's not a big deal. Well, if that 40-acre plus development is made into housing and you can go higher density, by the time you put in sewer, utilities, and Commissioner Burrow will probably correct me on all of this, is that the price of those lots slowly go up, taxable value goes up. You put a house on that, taxable value goes up. The services that are going to be needed, and some of those, I think the township has put out, is that they're on the hook to pay that. And as the services for those new people that are going to be living there, and I'm glad that they picked Kent County to maybe choose, you know, a place to live, that's going to be costly to them. I don't think it's too much of a thing to ensure that those things are funded. And what are we talking about? Part of their fire department, their historical commission, the cemeteries, the library. I mean, if they can't fund it, who's going to fund it then? I mean, if you take away the funding source that has worked so well to cooperatively between the two units fund these services for the residents up there, then, you know, I think we've missed the whole point of this. So, I don't know what else there is to say, but, you know, this puts us in a difficult spot. I don't think it's in the best interest of the residents, whether you live in the village or the township, but there's services up there that will be affected if this annexation goes through and the township is just cut below the knees and say, fund it, you know, you figure it out. But that funding source that you had for that is going to be gone, and that's wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeBoer.
Thank you, Chair. Can you just shed some light on how long this property has been a discussion with the township and with the village, and maybe some of the prior background on this? I mean, it seems to have been like a topic of conversation for the last at least 6 months. Can you shed some light on that?
I think Al might be able to, or.
I think we became aware of it about 6 months ago. Per the testimony of the property owner, they've been interested in developing it for a long time. But as far as actual interaction, I honestly don't know. But somebody else might.
Can I follow up?
Certainly.
I'm making the assumption, I guess, that the Village of Sparta has quite a bit more infrastructure than the township does currently. Would that be a correct assessment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Morse.
I just have a quick question. Al, could you clarify about the comment about the precedent? Does any way of any decision today on, are we setting a precedent for future annexation requests and how that might?
Very good question. No. I mean, all these under the law are treated as an up and down decision on each one that's brought to you.
Commissioner Stack.
Thank you, Chair Green. A couple of questions, if I might. Just to clarify with respect to the decision before us, you've said it's up or down. I heard some comments in the public comment suggesting that, well, maybe we should go back and have the parties rework on a 425. That's not before us, is it? I mean, we either say yes to the annexation or we say no to the annexation.
Commissioner, you have your full availability of motions in front of you, but as far as this, if you take up this question, it's a yes or no, not a yes but or a no in case. If you want to do something and you're not ready to make a decision, that's also within your purview today, as is any other topic. You have the ability to say, not yet.
A motion to table.
Motion to table. But as far as actually making a decision on the petition, you cannot add strings to it. It's a yes or no.
Okay. Follow-up question is, if the board were to say yes, that's it, the annexation is approved, there's no recourse further up by way of appellate process?
Not that I'm aware of. It is concluded.
Conversely, if the board were to say no today, the annexation is done.
This petition is done.
Unless it's re-petitioned, but this one is done.
Right.
And the township has no obligation to negotiate a 425 once we say no.
Correct.
And I don't know if we know this answer, but in the testimony there was, or presentation in public comment, there was some discussion that the village has previously had numerous examples in which they've generally annexed instead of used 425. Do we know, you and I probably know more than others, but so the law changed, the Supreme Court changed this area of law. I think it was the Clam Lake decision, but either way, were all those other annexations before Clam Lake?
I can't speak to that because we take each petition as it comes.
Yeah.
So I did not go back and get a comprehensive list of all historic annexations between the village and the township.
Because it strikes me it's only more recent experience that's relevant, because then we had the options before us. And then the last question I have is with respect to the township in the global perspective. My recollection is a lot of the cities surrounding Grand Rapids incorporated in order to avoid this annexation battle. Is the township's only recourse, if they wish to stop annexation going on, to incorporate?
No, there are, depending on population, they could become a charter township. So there are a couple different outfits out there, but that's solely within the township board and residents' determination.
So coming back down to if we say yes or we say no, that's probably the end of it, and then it's entirely up to the discretion if these parties wish to continue to negotiate. If we table for a period of time, what's the impact on the petition? Is there a deadline on it?
No, there's no deadline in the statute.
Thank you.
That, just a clarifying question for me, for council too, that in the event that this board would deny the petition, the petitioners may return with an identical petition. There's nothing in statute that prohibits them from doing so, correct?
Correct.
The legislature might be time to take another look at this whole process and what they've given to us, but, you know, that's, yeah, okay, great. Great, the infinite wisdom of the state. All right, others. Commissioner Burrow.
All right, thank you, Chair Green. So this was before us on Tuesday, and my opinion really doesn't change. In general, if I have to make a decision today, I would support the annexation. However, in the Tuesday meeting, I still, and I said it again, I believe for everybody to hear, that it's just too bad that we can't have two neighbors make this decision, come to some type of conclusions with the 425. I made it that whole meeting on Tuesday, that when I was at City of Wyoming, we had these agreements with Byron Township. It reverted to the City of Wyoming after like 15 or 25 years, something along those lines. So again, M6 was that divider, kind of made it a no-brainer and made it simple and easy. Again, I still think in general, it's a shame that we can't have two neighbors getting along, come to some type of conclusion. But again, if I did have to make a vote today, I would support the annexation. Again, however, I would still love to see some type of agreement between the two neighbors. And again, if we ever got a head nod out in that audience regarding that, I'm sure there'd be some motions out here to table if that was the case. Thank you, Chair Green.
Thank you. Commissioner, well, let's see if there's another for first, Commissioner. Commissioner Womack for first.
Yes, looking at today's public comment on this issue of annexation, I really believe, in my opinion, that it should have been the responsibility of both the village and the township, not only to let the owners know, but the previous owner who has passed, as I give my condolences to his family, know that the 425 was an option for them. But now I move to some of my questions that our staff might can answer. As these new services become available for this development, will there be any raising in taxes for the villagers? In anyone's opinion, or would anyone know about that?
Really would not know about that.
Okay. The other one would be, if it was annexed today, would the township have any legal liabilities that continue during the development of this, or would annexation take all legal liabilities from the township today?
I mean, once the property's in the village, then it would be under the total purview of the village and not the township anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I have Commissioner Steck for a second. We have Commissioner LeGrand for first.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank, it was great to hear directly from the family. I appreciate you coming and speaking so directly to us. I've heard a lot of regrets that this agreement couldn't happen before it got to us, but I feel like not deciding is definitely taking sides. We either say no and we're taking a side, or we say yes and we're taking a side. The property owners have asked to do this. The village has asked to do this. Simply the township doesn't want to give up its chance of future tax revenue. And to me, that is absolutely not enough to deny this request. That is the desire of the family and the desire of the village. And if both options are legal, I ferret the 425 and the annexation. I really dislike some implication that there's a legal preference for one over the other. They're both legal. And while we may not like having to make a decision, I think that they have a property. They've asked to become part of the village. The village would like it. I see absolutely no reason to say no to that. And I enjoyed reading through the websites of both the township and the village, and I think that the village has done a very good job, if you haven't read it, of explaining what their exploration of cityhood would be and what other villages around the state have discovered about that process. They're doing it very much with their eyes open, and they certainly are not pro-tax, and I think they'll be very respectful. And if we're looking at future generations, I don't think we should try to be ensuring tax dollars for the township, but trusting that future leaders of the township and the village will figure out how to cover their own costs. And I don't see that a village becoming a city is necessarily ruining anyone's financial future. So that's my opinion. I will be voting yes on the annexation.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? I will go back to Commissioner Steck for a second.
Thank you, Chair Green. So my inclination is to approve this annexation, but I concur in those comments that a mutually difficultly negotiated agreement between the township and the village would be superior in the long run for these two public bodies than having us force an annexation or forcing no annexation. And my sense is that at least it doesn't sound like 425 has been fully vetted by the interested parties at this point. Maybe it has, but I'm not hearing that it has been fully vetted. So I would move to table this until our second meeting in January to give these parties that opportunity to fully vet that out, to see if they are able to reach that 425. If not, it'll simply come back and they will have given every opportunity to work it out with this supervision, and we can vote it. I'm not afraid to make a vote. I think this is the first time I've ever moved to table anything.
Okay, great. There's been a motion. I'd like to clarify, just on a technicality, that that's a motion to postpone to a date certain.
It is to a date certain. I don't think we should just leave this forever. That's not my experience. You're going to negotiate it with the deadline coming up, or you're not.
And the date certain that you've proposed, Commissioner, is January?
I hate to win it in December, and I know we have our organizational meeting in the first part of January, so it's probably the second meeting in January.
January 22nd would be our non-organizational meeting in January. There's been a motion, and that it's still supported by Commissioner Ponstein as presented. Okay, now that there was a motion on the table, we can have discussion on that motion, correct?
Yes.
That is a debatable motion?
Yes.
Council, okay. Great, so the question before us now is the motion to postpone to date certain, being our second meeting in January, our first business meeting in January. Questions, comments, or discussion on that motion? Yes, Commissioner Hildebrand.
Thank you, Chair Green. I don't oppose the tabling. For me, this is about the landowners. It's not about the township. It's not about the village. It's not about government. We need to stand for the property owners, the taxpayers, the residents. What do they want? They want to annex the property in honor of their father, who is now gone, to continue his will. And we should stand for the taxpayers, the residents, and their will, not the government's. So I'll be voting no on tabling. I'll be supporting the annexation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions on the motion to postpone? Commissioner DeBoer.
Thank you, Chair. I would echo some of Commissioner Hildebrand's comments. It seems to me that they've had the opportunity to have an agreement, and maybe there was some oversight on that agreement and the process of that, but it is before us now, and I would rather just make a decision and move on. So I'll be also voting no on the motion to table.
Thank you. Others? Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. I think it has been clear from what we've heard from the township trustees who are here, as well as from the city manager or the village manager. They're both aware of the 425, and I would say that we should respect them all as grown-ups, and these discussions have been going on for some time already, and I don't think that a couple more months are going to substantially change their wishes, and I will also be voting no.
Thank you, Commissioner. Others? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Green. So I'll just make it brief. Now it's you know, the township is against the property owner doing something. That's not it. I've not heard once where the township has said that they can't do this. They can do it. They can do whatever they want with that land that they have now. So you were saying that we don't want government involved, but government's now involved, that somehow one government wants to annex, the other one doesn't. That doesn't stop the homeowner or the property owner or the taxpayer to do what he wants to do. It's already zoned for what he wants to do. The question is the taxable revenue and where it's going? And as much as we hate taxes, taxes provide services. And those are now going to be put in jeopardy if we continue down this road and just say, we're going to annex it. Thank you.
Thank you. Other commissioners on the motion to postpone? Commissioner Steck.
Do I get one more?
You were the motion maker, so you would have had privilege. So yes, you can go right ahead.
That's really three, though. But
Yeah, I know, but this is technically a different question. I'm giving you a little leeway.
yeah, so again, in my experience, parties think they're going to win these, and they negotiate accordingly. It is a material difference if we were to go back as a board and say, we're essentially, by tabling it, telling you to go back and negotiate a resolution that works for both the township and the village and the property owner. I heard the property owner suggest maybe they haven't fully personally vetted what would be a 425 and what would it look like. That's why I don't think it's been fully vetted. But this is not going to be the only time this is likely to happen. And if there is a way for these two jurisdictions who will likely have these conversations in the future to establish a working relationship that is not antagonistic, but find mutual ground where they can find a way of doing this as opposed to coming back here each time and having us pick a winner and a loser, I think that's worth the try. If it doesn't work, we're no worse off. I mean, I get it. We got to take it up and we got to vote on it again, but I think it's worth a try. So that's why I support a table.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Womack.
Put you to work, Al Vandenberg. Mr. Vandenberg, got more questions. Since I also lean that it's about the property owners and what they wish to do with their development, but also see that no matter which way they go, I do believe that this development will be able to be completed. My question is, if they were to remain in the township, what are we looking at the taxable on that property and that development? And if they go with the village, what would the taxables be? As we heard, there's a 1%, then there's a 12% over here, but also there's still some type of quasi-taxables that go on with some of these citizens and properties. So just a little clarification on that, opposed to if they went with the 425 or if they annex.
I mean, I can't comment on the value of the property, but assuming the property gets done, it means it got water and sewer. So I would think the value of the actual development would be similar. The percent you're referring to is the millage.
Yes.
The village has a 12 mil levy and the township has a 1 mil levy. So the difference would just be in property taxes paid, which presumably would be the same difference in a 425. So either way, I would say the taxes are going to be about the same and the value is going to be about the same.
Okay, but if they annex, they wouldn't be responsible for the 1% anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And with the 425, they may be responsible for both taxables to both.
It depends how that's negotiated out. I mean, it could be that the village would take 11 and the township 1. Since there hasn't been, it's impossible to answer that because they haven't negotiated, to our knowledge.
Yeah.
On that point.
Yes. And as I'm glad you answered that to the best of your ability, because those are some of the things that if I was a property owner, I definitely want to have some concrete answers. I manage properties for radio stations, so I haven't been in annexation, but I've been in negotiations where I did have to step back and get legal counsel for situations like this when it comes to taxable. So just had those questions. Thank you so much.
Minority Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. So this came before executive some time ago. We asked all of these questions, heard from all of the different parties about what they have talked about, what they've negotiated on. And the 425 was actually something that was discussed at some point between them. And it was something that the village decided they were not interested in for their specific reasons. And so I do think that the property owners have made it very clear what the plan was, that their dad really wanted this to take place. They want to move forward. It meets our strategic goals of providing more housing in Kent County, which we really, really want and which we really need. And so I'm looking at it more strategically in that the family wants to help us meet our goals. The village is saying, yeah, we'll do it and we'll make this happen. We weren't part of those conversations when they were talking about 425 versus annexation. But from what I heard in executive committee before we sent it to the subcommittee, to the standing committee, there was discussions about this. And so to table this and to drag this on more doesn't make sense to me. I think that, you know, I've been supportive of the annexation because of the fact that I feel like there was due diligence done. I'll be supporting the annexation. I will not be supporting the tabling of this because I really feel like we need to move on from this and we need to let them go on ahead and move forward with the plans to provide additional housing in Kent County. Again, that is the top priority in my book for everything, and if we can get moving with that, that's what I want to support.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And I will, Vice Chair McLeod, you brought it back nicely, but I want to remind commissioners that the question is to the motion to postpone, so let's keep the discussion to that piece of it when possible, but thank you, you did fine. I've got Commissioner Morse next.
On the motion to postpone, I will be voting no on the motion to postpone. I spoke to the property owners, and they are very anxious to pursue this immediately. So I will be voting no on the motion to postpone.
Thank you. Commissioner Pakla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As with all motions to postpone, I always ask myself, what new information do we get before the next time we would vote on this? If the sole purpose of the postponement here is to have the two parties explore a 425 agreement, I think we've already had that conversation. We already know, as is very evident in the memos that we have received, that has been on the radar of the village. It certainly is on the radar of the township. Those are the two parties that are part of the 425 negotiation. So for me, if what we're hoping to gain out of this postponement is a knowledge that they would have that negotiation about a 425, we already know that those two parties have had that. So no new information would be given to me in particular. So I will not be supporting the motion to postpone. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else for a first on the motion to postpone? I have Commissioner Womack for a second. Commissioner Hennessy.
I support the motion to postpone. This is a far-reaching decision. Once it's made, it can't be turned back. If it only requires right now a little bit more time, one more chance for these two parties to get along and to reach an agreement, and for the township to understand, you know, you really need to be at the table and to be talking reasonably. But I do see strong implications for now and for the future, or the possible future. While we're voting on a motion for today, we have to think about the future of the township itself and its level of participation as this community grows. I don't see any problem with giving them a little bit more time. I will support the motion to postpone.
Thank you, Commissioner Hennessy. Commissioner Kallman.
Thank you, Chair. I concur that a good amount of time and conversation around this issue has taken place. I'm pessimistic that more time will change any factors. However, it does seem like this meeting is indicative of no clear direction of how this board will go once the question is actually on the table again. And so while I'm pessimistic, I will support the motion to table to give the parties a little more time with that knowledge and understanding to explore these alternatives again I do have a question specifically with regard to the process, which I know is not, well detailed in state statute, but the public hearing that's been accomplished earlier this morning, is that sufficient for the question to come before us again at that second meeting in January?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for a first on the motion? Okay, Commissioner Womack for a second on the motion.
I'll just keep it brief, just want to go on record. My reasoning for bringing up the 425 is that in all my studying, I've seen the 425 as I looked at what I believe to be over 50 acres of land here in Sparta. So I know all of us government officials, the village, the township, we've all discussed the 425. My reason for bringing it up today was because I heard one of the owners of the properties say he wished that someone had mentioned the 425 to him. So that may be the reason that I brought it up today, and I'm just ready to vote on this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the motion to postpone? Okay, yes, Commissioner Pacla.
Just get a quick point of clarity. A 425 agreement is an agreement between two municipalities, right? It is atypical that or that somebody other than a municipality would take part in a 425?
It's between the municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I see no other comments on the motion to postpone. I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll in a moment. Just a reminder that the motion to postpone requires a simple majority to be adopted. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the motion to postpone?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to postpone Resolution 95 to a date certain, Commissioner Boojak?
Yes.
Vice Chair Burrow?
No.
Commissioners DeBoer? No. Faber? No. Halsted? Hennessy? Yes. Hildenbrand?
No.
Coleman?
Yes.
LeGrand?
No.
McLeod?
No.
Merchant? No. Morales? No. Morse? No. Oliver King? No. Pacla?
No.
Ponstein?
Yes.
Sparks?
No.
Steck?
Yes.
Teal?
No.
Womack?
Abstain. Okay.
You have to vote, Commissioner.
Okay. Yes.
Chair Green?
No.
Mr. Chair, you have 6 yeas, 14 nays. The motion fails. The motion fails. The motion to table Resolution 95 to a date certain is not adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion to postpone not receiving enough votes to pass. We're now back to the main motion, and I think I'd like to ask, just for a clarification, if council can ask Commissioner Womack to clarify the intention of the main motion, just where we started, just to clarify.
So Commissioner, the action request was written before the Operations Committee had taken a look at it, and it came up to the board, asking the board to make a decision, yes or no, on the petition.
Yes.
So when you made the motion, are you making a motion to approve the annexation, or are you making a motion to deny the annexation?
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, who seconded that motion?
Minority Vice Chair McLeod.
Okay. And Vice Chair McLeod, you still are? Yes. Okay, great. I just wanted to get that clarification on where we were. The question is back to the main motion to approve the annexation petition request. I think we've had a lot of discussion, but we're going to go back to my original list here. So are there any others for a first or a second on this matter? Yes, Commissioner DeBoer.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call the question.
There's been a motion to call the question. It's been supported. That motion is not debatable. It requires a 2/3 vote. I'm going to get clarification on that. If we can clarify that that's not debatable and requires a 2/3 vote, but I think I'm right. And council, if you can clarify if that's members present, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. The motion is not debatable. It's been made to call the question. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll on the motion to call the question?
On the motion to call the question, Commissioner Boojak?
Yes.
Vice Chair Burrow.
Yes.
Commissioners DeBoer. Faber. Halsted. Hennessy. Hildenbrand.
Yes.
LeGrand, Coleman.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Merchant. Morales. Morse. Oliver King. Pekla. Ponstein. Sparks. Steck. Teal. Womack. Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 yeas, 2 nays. The motion passes. The question is called for.
Thank you. I'll just say that Commissioner Coleman's getting soft because he always votes no on those. All right, there's no more debate. The question has been called, so I will now ask the clerk to again call the roll on the main motion to approve the annexation petition request.
On the motion to approve Resolution 95 to approve the Sparta annexation request, Commissioners Boojak.
No.
Vice Chair Burrow.
Yes.
Commissioners DeBoer. Faber. Halsted. Hennessy. Hildenbrand.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Merchant. Morales. Morse. Oliver King. Pekla. Ponstein. Sparks. Steck.
Yes.
Teal. Womack.
Yes.
Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 17 yeas, 3 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 95 to approve the Sparta annexation request is adopted.
Thank you, and I thank commissioners and members of the public for the engagement on this issue. We'll move to agenda item number 9, which is public comment related to general county matters. If you have public comment related to general county matters, please come forward, give us your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes. Welcome, D.
How y'all doing? Y'all stuff is crazy up here. I'm D. Jones. Y'all was dragging that a lot. I don't like that. I'm gonna just be frank with y'all. But I am D. Jones. I'm actually the person who got the city government to adopt 3D printing houses. So very, very innovative stuff. I look to speak to you, the guy from the village of Sparta, actually 3D printing houses in the village and actually get into some social issues instead of just arguing and stuff like that. It was not cool. But I do have a certification from the University of North Florida, which is a Division I university, for AI. So if you don't know, you can actually use AI to 3D print houses. You can actually put in a template. I like the luxury house in Sparta. And they can actually create a template in Sparta and actually create a luxury house. Very luxurious. I want y'all to see this. So, D. Jones, pioneer, visionary, future billionaire, trillionaire, going to innovate the construction industry, going to educate colleges and universities to adopt construction and actually solve the social issues, as I'm going to be speaking on a global podcast about digital finance and streaming. I am a featured streamer on a decentralized streaming platform called Party. The app is going to be out November 28th, so people can actually stream directly from their phone and earn cryptocurrency. It's going to be really, really cool. So I'm just very happy to be the person pioneer, because I know you guys have the revolving loan from ARPA. I'm still on y'all head about y'all not supporting my project back then, and I'm going to do things better than politicians. I already do things better than politicians that act like they can't get along and solve social issues that are very simple. It's crazy. But I am going to 3D print houses, and y'all going to see this. I'm just a very effective person. I'm not a politician, but I have influenced policy. I got our city government, because politics start local. I can't wait for the next couple years of the federal government, because I know we're going to get some federal funds to 3D print some houses. I'm going to be asking you for your info after I leave. But you guys need to start being effective. Start printing some out. I know that y'all got the ARPA funds. We got 55 million. I got the white folder with IFF with the card and everything. I'm ready. I'm ready to 3D print houses and actually start getting into the housing crisis, because I'm sick of people. It's cold outside. It's very, very cold outside. You got people sleeping on concrete with sleeping bags and covers and stuff like that, and having to get up and have no place to stay but outside. But I'm going to change that. Hopefully, with the village of Sparta, we can work together and change that too. We are going to change that, because I'm going to be on y'all about that too, because I don't like how that was just dragged. Could have been got that done. But we're going to get this done, and I'm going to just end this time and ask this guy for his info. And then I'm going to go do this global podcast speaking to some people in Africa that build schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment related to general county matters? Good morning again.
I will keep it brief. Certainly appreciated everyone's time. Jim Lauer on behalf of the Village of Sparta. Thank you for your work on this. I could tell it was obviously a little bit of a difficult decision, given all the dynamics into it. As some of you may know, I used to work for the state legislature and served there as well. I am talking with them about changing the village process to mirror the city process. So whether we became a city or not, hopefully we wouldn't have to ask you folks to help us with these things again, because I realize that it clearly puts you in a difficult position to, pick the winner and loser. Certainly appreciate the outcome today, but there's a quirk with the fact that the General Law Village Act, they come to you folks and the rest of them go to the State Boundary Commission. There is a reason. It's because there is no loser in this process. The township does still get their property taxes in the interim, so I think that's why it's different, but given the contentious nature of them, I can see a benefit in having that changed and mirrored to the city process. So I've talked with some contacts there. They are drafting a bill. Whether or not that would go through, we all know that's a long and arduous process, but I think that it would benefit not only Kent County, but all counties. When I was working in a different county, they also had similar difficulties with these things, and they come to it from, why are we being asked this? Why can't it be decided locally? How are we the arbiters? So maybe someday we'll get that fixed, but for now, certainly thank you very much for taking the time and digging into it. I know there was a lot to pour through. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
And good morning to you. Greetings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Daniel Scott. Again, my real identity is I'm a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. And again, you've given us permission not to have to share our address because of our enemies. Thank you, Commissioner Bujak, for your invocation. I may have told you this before, but your first name means powerful ruler. Yeah, that's rather fitting. A little different tenor today. I'm usually here to speak up for our most vulnerable, the unborn. But because next Thursday is our national holiday, we call Thanksgiving. And by the way, the Almighty Lord God says in His Word, every day is Thanksgiving. Especially for giving us life and breath every day. And for the Lord Jesus Christ Himself dying on the cross for our sins. What greater act to be grateful for than that sacrifice He made, so that we could be assured of being in heaven one day. Our life here doesn't go forever. And the only qualification to get into heaven is to believe that He died for your sins and rose again. But I would like to thank each one of you, Chairman Green, Clerk Lyons, Sheriff LaJoy is here, for your service to our county. I realize it's not easy. I've been here many times, as you know, and sometimes you're dealing with difficult situations like today. I want to remind you that I pray for you every day, not by name, but by group. And again, if any of you have any prayer requests, personal, family, business, or concerning this commission, I'd be happy to lift those up to the Lord for you. As I said, I'd like to thank the sheriff. I'd like to thank the police, the fire departments of every community for risking their lives every day. If there's any veterans with us today, we just had Veterans Day. I want to thank them publicly for their service. That makes it possible for us to be here today. So, thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment, general county matters this morning? Good morning.
I just want to thank each and every one of you for the debate and the approval and putting this to bed for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Others, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Siri Levikas. I'm here this morning to speak for my son, who is nonverbal and not able to speak. My son, on November 9th, was sent to the emergency room by his guardian. He was not allowed any visitors in the emergency room. He was sent with life-threatening condition, and he was not expected to live for the next 24 to 48 hours. There was no guarantees. I was informed by the guardian that my son was sent to emergency room. I asked if I could go down and be with him, in that I have ongoing illegal visitation restrictions against me. The guardian said no. I knew that his restrictions against me were illegal. There was no court order validating any visitation restrictions against me. I went down to the emergency room. I was allowed access. I went into the emergency room where my son was. 20 minutes later, somebody came in. He said, "This is not the same man that I left 20 minutes ago. He has color in his face and his skin has tension. This is amazing." In that 20 minutes, he had phlegm and saliva that was falling down his throat, threatening to suffocate him. I removed that phlegm. When the nurse came in, she said, "Oh my goodness, his mouth looks great. Did you do that?" I said, "Yes, I'm trained and have permission to do that." She said, "Oh, this is wonderful." He was admitted with sepsis from a bed sore that he had had for a year and a half that had only gotten worse. He had kidney infection from kidney stones that were blocking the urine that had not been treated. He had pneumonia as a side effect of the bed sore that had not been treated, and he had to be laid down for 60 days. Everything that he had was preventable and should not have taken place. But the guardian wanted my son
Thank you.
to face this alone without any support. I'm asking you to investigate these allegations and make reports to the Oversight Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else for public comment related to general county matters this morning? I see none. We'll move on to agenda item number 10, which is the administrator's report.
And I have nothing today.
Tremendous. Move to agenda item number 11, which is reports from commissioners. Are there any reports this morning? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Green. So yesterday, the Kent County Pension Board met. It's a pension board that oversees $1.3 billion in assets to ensure our pension plan is funded and will deliver the services promised. Now, I can argue on both sides of it, whether pensions are good, pensions are bad, and pros and cons each way. So when I was appointed to the pension board, I didn't think that was my duty to debate, should we or shouldn't we? That's the role of the county commission. My role, along with Commissioner Teal, hopefully, also is to ensure that those funds are managed properly and those benefits that have been promised by this board is delivered to them in their retirement. We sit at $1.3 billion. We have 12 highly qualified fund managers representing all parts of this world to deliver us not the highest, but to guarantee that at the end of the day, we're going to hit that target when the retirees go into retirement. And that's by a process called capturing the upside, but then also capturing the downside to make it more of a level instead of the weird swings on there. We're currently at 94% fully funded. According to last year in 2024, those numbers should improve. There's not a lot of pension funds in the state. I can say that they're over 90% funded. So I'm very proud of the staff we have. If you ever have any questions, I'm sure the administrator in charge, Michelle Belcom, would love to sit down with you and chat. But, you know, it's nothing I'm doing or Commissioner Teal's doing. This is a plan that was set in place decades ago, and it's a plan that we have followed. We don't market time. We make sure the market is timed right for us. So thank you, Chair Green.
Thank you, Commissioner Ponstein, and I appreciate yours and Commissioner Teal's service there. You both served before and volunteered to stay, and I'm grateful because I'm not lining up to get in that room. We appreciate it. Others for reports. Commissioner Pakla.
Just a very brief report from the GV Metro Council Policy Committee, which took place yesterday. Drain Commissioner Yonker mentioned the project on M37, the Beltline over I-96. One of the benefits of sitting on the GV Metro Council Policy is that we hear all the updates about road projects. That took up a substantial amount of conversation yesterday because it will be a very disruptive project that will take place starting next year into 2027. So if you are ever interested in the very detailed aspects of GV Metro Council Policy, I have all of those transportation amendments that are available to anybody, and they're available to the greater public as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else for reports? Okay, I see none. We'll move to agenda item number 12, which is miscellaneous. Any commissioner miscellaneous this morning? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Green. So obviously I'm disappointed in the vote that happened there, but I just want to clarify one thing, and that's something I was hoping to do, but then we cut debate. That kind of put an end to it. I just want to point out, I mean, towards the end, it then came to affordable housing. And that's a goal that, you know, we need to attain, and we got to push this project along. You know, when I saw the people from Sparta Township leave, obviously they weren't happy. But the township was never opposed to housing. They certainly weren't opposed to affordable housing. In a farming community, they're always looking towards that. So this is what I'm worried about, is when we get involved in this and then start making these claims, is that, you know, the township didn't want to stop anything to do with that land or the private owner or affordable housing or any of that. And you know, we've got to be careful, because I don't know what the relationship between us and the township will be going forward, but I know the relationship between the township and the village is going to be interesting to watch. So, on to some good news. In the past, we've always talked about how government is there to help us always. You know, the crisis of the SNAP benefits and how everyone, you know, needed to come together. Well, someone did, and that happened yesterday. The Mel Trotter Turkey Trot went on. I was in line. I was somewhere with the 2,000 first ones. But as of this morning, 7,033 turkeys and more coming in have been donated this year. Their goal was 5,000. I think that shows and tells a lot of people about the community we live in, the people we have living here, and sometimes, as good as government can be, I think relying on your neighbor and our civic organizations, our churches, and our faith will get us through a lot of that. And then my last thing, Al, I just got another, you know, request. There's a lot of things going on, and the amphitheater is obviously moving along. You know, the music artists, most of them I have no idea. Lionel Richie, I guess I know a little bit about. But things are going fast. And, you know, you listen to the news that, you know, this is going to be a windfall. New bars are popping up. But then a few months ago, I heard where a bar closed because there's no parking. And there was a lot of promises and claims that when all these things are built, then we'll figure everything out. I'm concerned about that, and I think we need an update of where these projects stand, what the impacts are gonna be, what this city's gonna look like when they're, finally finished. I heard something disappointing, yesterday from one of the landowners, and I can't think of the old building along the highway where all the antiques place. They all got eviction notices, yesterday. I guess instead of improving that property for them to continue their businesses, with them being a block or so away from the amphitheater, is that newer and better things are there. But meanwhile, these folks have lost their livelihood, lost their businesses, and pretty much have no place else to go. So I find that disappointed, and those are the things that I was concerned with when I had some opposition to these projects, is that, it's just going too fast. And if we could get an update from them to come in for the whole board. I heard on a lot of topics today where, the executive committee had a lot of this stuff earlier. Well, people that are on the executive committee don't. So the flow of information, I think's got to improve. I don't know if going to 3 subcommittees have done anything to improve that, but I think all 21 commissioners need the same information and keep up to date as much as possible. Thank you, Al.
Thank you. Commissioner Bujak.
Thank you, Chair. It was interesting today to see the dialogue regarding this annexation issue, and it was not divided in a partisan way. The comments and questions were very good, and I think it shows the health of this Board of Commission. And certainly everybody giving their input was important. In the end, I think the most important thing is that the property owner got what he wanted. The property owner went to the village and asked for annexation. The village looked at annexation and approved it and came to us, and ultimately they got the approval. And as Commissioner Hildenbrand said, the government shouldn't really be the focus on this. It was about the property owner, and the property owner got what he wanted.
Thank you. Anybody else for miscellaneous today? Commissioner Womack.
Yes, I totally agree that one of the reasons I did vote yes on the annexation was because of the property owner's request. I do believe that anybody that believes this was more than a debate or dialogue, or especially as elected official, if anyone's leaving the table salty, you have to ask yourself if you were built for this, because I don't think that an annexation is I don't think it's an unserious situation. I think it's a very heavy task, and I wouldn't have expected any less than the questions that came across. And in the end, I was happy to vote yes, but I was happy that I asked questions that would make me more sure of that vote, because it is definitely not a joke. And even when, as it's stated, this is between the governments, I would beg to differ, because I would say we want to still be a government of the people. And when people are having a conversation going back and forth about your property, there shouldn't be any aspects that you don't know, especially something as large as a 425. But at the end of the day, I believe the property owners, that's what they wanted. I'm so glad for all the dialogue that did happen, because I always leaned that way. And I thank all the commissioners that did support the annexation for coming in with their comments, because their comments definitely helped put my vote in that direction that ended with the majority. On a better note, and like I said, this was not an argument, this was a debate. If it wasn't called an argument, I wouldn't have came back and made a comment in miscellaneous about it. This is what government is about. Asking the questions and not just rubber stamping something because some colleagues that you get along with are going along with this or that. On a happier note, though, just want to thank Chair Green for coming to our Veterans Day event. I invited some veterans out to give lunch, something we do every year, and they were very happy to have bipartisan support this year. Chair Green did read the resolution. He did such a great job. I told him, wow. he came in, when he came there, we just threw it on him, and everybody enjoyed him being there. And next year, I'll be welcoming all the other commissioners to come out, and just want to give my head nod to all the veterans once again who fought for the freedom that we're enjoying today. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciated the invite, and I think the reading I did was not so impressive. I do thank my kindergarten teacher for that. But thank you, it was a nice event. Anybody else for miscellaneous? I think Commissioner Ponstein wanted me to mention that the K-9 calendar for the sheriff's office, which is lovely, and I wish, did y'all bring any today? I keep meaning to ask you, Under Sheriff, to bring some. So, but they are available at HQ for $20. They make a great gift, and so yeah, they all go to the K-9 program, and some wonderful pictures and in support of our police dogs and their service, which we very much appreciate. Anybody else for miscellaneous today? I have just a couple of quick notes on the. I try not to do the meeting recap, but I'll say one thing on the. We had 3 former legislators in this room now. Manager Lauer mentioned that he's one of them. The other 2 will go unnamed. And then we have 2 former county commissioners in the state legislature and 2 county commissioners, by my count, running for the state legislature next year. So maybe with all those folks, we can get a fix to some of these issues that we keep bringing up. We'll keep on you. We appreciate that. Another quick announcement: I don't know if a message went out yet, but it's going to be going out. Scheduling for next year, the Rules Committee is meeting, evaluating the committee structure, that sort of thing. We're not ready to make any recommendation to this board, but we're intending to make a recommendation to this board at the organizational meeting next year. For now, we're asking that folks just hold your Tuesdays for the first couple months of the year. You won't have to hold all of them for the whole year, but just keep those open, and especially in January and February, and then we'll sort that out as we continue on. So that's just a brief announcement. My final thing, it is Thanksgiving next week. I'm very grateful to serve with each of you all. We appreciate your service to the county. Also thankful for our great team of staff, other elected officials that help make things go, and most importantly to our community for their continued investment in what we do here. And just want to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, and I hope it's safe and enjoyable with your friends and family. With that, we'll call on Commissioner Bujak for a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, subject to the call of the chair, to Thursday, December 4th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. for an official meeting.
Supported by Commissioner Womack. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.